With 2024 nearly done, and with 2025 just around the corner, I wanted to take just 10 minutes to talk about this year in review for Legend of Zelda, and then give you my full prediction for what Nintendo are going to do with the franchise next year. And a lot of this links to the Switch too. So, where do we think it's going to go? Let's find out. I am the Zelda Realm. Welcome to the channel. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. And I'm just going to chill and play a bit of Breath of the Wild while I chat to you. That is all I'm going to do. We're going to chill in some Breath of the Wild. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just thought it would be nicer aesthetic to just run around as Linky Poo on the map while discussing this year first. So, 2024. How was 2024 for Zelda? So it was a little bit of an ambitious year, actually. I think it was a surprise for almost all of us. In terms of, I'm not sure that any of us would have seen a game where you play as Zelda coming out this year. It wasn't on my bingo card for the year. And obviously we knew that it wasn't made by the Nintendo team. We knew that it was it was Grezzo who did it. That's a good man. You just stay there. We know it was Grezzo. But I think the point remains that they were clearly trying something different and new with the franchise. They wanted to, I think, test the waters, see what would happen. And they delivered. It wasn't unbelievable. They delivered a decent game. They delivered a 2D Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom. They had a really interesting story idea, I want to say. Insofar as to say that they pushed the boat out, they tried something new, they tried the new villain thing. Did it work for me? Not necessarily, I'm going to say. But, can't deny, they tried something, and they weren't afraid to put the boat out and say, what do you think of this? I'm not rushing back for a Zelda game headlined by playing as Zelda. I gave it I think I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, I think, which is reasonable. And obviously we had new dungeons for the first time in forever. So it delivered in so many different ways, but was it what we were hoping for or expecting? I think we can all agree, probably not. So that was 2024. I think one of the disappointing bits, I think it depends where you sit on this actually, but I think not having Tears of the Kingdom DLC became a little bit disappointing for people. Oh dear me. That was poor. I think a lot of people after Breath of the Wild and the expansions that we got there were almost expecting a Tears of the Kingdom DLC. People had speculated we would get one about dragons just because of the origin of how Zelda became a dragon. Spoilers, if you don't already know, now you do. I got lucky there. So, all in all, I think it was fine without being unbelievable. That's where I sit. Next year's where it gets interesting. So here's how I think next year's going to play out. Because next year is a really important year for Nintendo as a whole. I think what's going to happen is we're going to get a direct in February of 2025 that will announce the Switch 2, whatever that ends up being. So whether that's, if it's called the Switch 2 or if it's called something else. That console will release, I think, in October or November 2025. So, as the Americans call it, Holiday 2025. And I think it's going to be the big release of next year. Obviously, next year, on a gaming capacity, next year is absolutely stacked. If you're a PlayStation, Xbox, PC gamer, you're eating so well next year. There's just so many games coming out. But obviously, with any of these things, they need to have system sellers, right? So I think we'll have two guarantees. You'll get a new Mario game, and probably a new 3D Mario game, actually, because obviously, we haven't had a 3D Mario game, if I'm right in saying this, since Odyssey. So I think you'll see a new 3D Mario game for sure. Then I think it'll be the new Pokemon games. I think they will then be the next release. So it'll be Mario, Pokemon, and then lastly, this is where I think Zelda comes in. They need to have a Zelda game for the console, in my opinion. I think you can't have a new console and not have something Zelda. So my big prediction is that in 2025 we will get, and I've been asking for this for years, we will get a Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD collection, right? So I don't think they'll be two separate games. I think they will do a collection that is like 60 quid or 60 bucks. You get both games in the one thing. Almost like 3D All-Stars, but not quite as silly as that. I think they will be used to show off the graphical ability of the new Switch 2, especially Twilight Princess, because I think they might try and up-res it. And then Wind Waker obviously just looks amazing anyway, so we have that. So that is where I think we will see a new Zelda game next year. Anything else to do with Zelda next year? I think we'll get two things next year as well. So these are my final two predictions. The first one is that we'll get some more news about the movie. So we'll either get casting or announcement of likely, I use the word likely here, likely, not release window, but like a timeline. So I think we will get some more information on the movie. And the last thing I think we'll get is a trailer of some sort for a new Zelda game, which will release in 2026. And I think that this new Zelda game in 2026 will be a new 3D linear story-driven Zelda title. I've put my prediction out there. I think we will finally get a new traditional Zelda game, because let's be real, let's be honest here, they're in a difficult position because of how popular Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have been to the mainstream audience, to the casual fans. And that's not a dig at casual fans, by the way. Welcome to the franchise. If we get new fans into the franchise as a whole, that is better for everyone. However, the problem with it is that expectations become that all the Zelda games are open world, running around like this, all that kind of stuff. That just is not the reality of what Zelda is. It's not its identity. It's a new step for it. I think it was a logical step, because for any of Nintendo's franchises, Zelda has always been the one that's about exploration and discovery. So for me, I have no problem with Zelda going open world. I just think that in 2026 we will get a new 3D game, because let's not forget that Eiji Aonuma said after the release window of Tears of the Kingdom that we would never see that long of a gap between mainline Zelda releases ever again. Now, it's up to you whether you think that Echoes of Wisdom counts as what you call a mainline release. I know it was a mainline release, but it's not like a massive hitter in the sense of being, you know, a Skyward Sword, for example. So I think it'll be 2026, again, probably around Christmas. I know Zelda traditionally was always like a March, April, May release window, but I do think they'll want to sell a good few copies of the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD collection. So there you go. There are my predictions for what Zelda does next year. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think, and we can have a friendly conversation about where we think the franchise goes. But for me, I just want to say have a lovely holiday break. Whether you're a Christmas fan, whether you're not, whether you take time off, enjoy the period of time. Next week there will be no video. I'll be taking the week off to enjoy Christmas myself, and then from the week after I will be back with weekly uploads, back with the essays, back with some conversation style videos like this. And yeah, I just want to thank you for the support for the last 7 weeks. It's been really quite humbling. I'm going to keep pushing, and we're going to get more Zelda content your way. So for now, all that's left for me to say is Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from me, the Zelda Realm. See you next time.